reason that most people fail, well, not that they fail, the reason most people start going in the direction, the reason that a lot of you don't do as much as you can do, the reason that some of you, when you have it going, you start to go back in the direction, is you don't have a real purpose. Which is why hardly anybody did. Well, that's what we're trying to build here. You don't even know how good that makes me. I mean, I can't imagine. And you don't know how hard I worked to actually say that about me. And you know, I just hope that this weekend that someday you'll make a decision to go be all you can be, so that can happen to you. Because that's really all I did. That's what I did, is I made a decision to be all that I could be. Not that all that Ronald Reagan could be, or all that whoever Vince Lombardi could be, all that I could be. And I worked at it, and I worked at it, and I worked at it, and I worked at it. And when I got tired, I worked at it some more. That's what that's really, when all is said and done, that's all I've done. And I've been relentless in the pursuit of getting better, and you really have, so. And one of the things I want to do is, I want to build a dynasty. So I got this article in your book. Pull it out. It's called Building a Dynasty. I think this meeting here is going to be the real starting point for building our dynasty. Not my dynasty. I didn't say my dynasty. I said our dynasty. And the thing that Rick said, Jan and I are nothing without you. We don't ever forget that. If you ever see me even, kind of even approaching to look like I'm thinking like that, I hope you care about me enough that you'll come and let me know. Because that is absolutely not our intention. We've won, we're worth $3 or $4 million, make big money. We've done it. I did what I set out to do, which was to become a millionaire and basically get financial independence. We've done that, really. And so I was telling Rick this morning, there's got to be another. What drives a person when they have all the material things that they need? The reason that most people fail. Well, not that they fail. The reason most people start going in the direction, the reason that a lot of you don't do as much as you can do, the reason that some of you, when you have it going, you start to go back in the direction, is you don't have a real purpose. See, you have a goal to do something, maybe to buy a car or buy a house or to make so much money. You have these goals. Which are goals? A goal is entirely different from a purpose. Totally different. Goals are like things that you, tangible things that you achieve and you get. That's what a goal is. But a purpose is something that you can't see or taste or feel. It's totally intangible. Like a purpose is wanting to have the best possible relationship you can have with, whoever your God is. See, that's a purpose. That's not a goal. That's a purpose. That's something that you can work on all the time, right? It just never stops. That's a purpose. A goal is not missing any services for a year. But that's not a purpose. That's a goal. Just like in our business, a goal is doing $50,000 in your base. A goal is making, $25,000 a month. A goal is, right? But a purpose is developing you. So you see that tape where I said, I will have the best
people or whatever, what I said, something like that. And see, that's my purpose. That's a purpose. And that's some, what happens because you never reach that, right? There's always something more to do. And then so when people are making big money, that doesn't matter because my purpose can't be ever met. You understand that? So that's how it's easy for me to get up out of bed every day and keep doing it, keep doing retreats and keep doing Saturday morning, and keep doing Tuesday night, and keep doing Monday morning, and keep doing it because it's about my purpose. My purpose is to develop the most successful people in the country. And I haven't even come close to that, and I don't know when I ever will. Because there's too many people in this country. Do you understand that? There's too many. There's 240 million people. And one day, as you get better at this, you have a more effect on people. Well, I haven't even scratched the surface yet. See, a lot of you think that we've done a lot. We have done nothing. All I have to do is look at Art Williams' hierarchy. Wait, we're going to do maybe... I didn't get about 800 to 900,000 last month. But you know what? Art did last month? He probably did 25 or 30 million. That's what Art did last month. So you think for 1 second I think I've got it going? And I really know what I'm doing? And I've already made it? You think that when I go home at night, I think that I've got it going and that I've made it? You don't know me very well. I don't think I'm anywhere. See, a lot of you, when you start making $10,000 a month and $20,000, you thought you made it. You think you made it. You didn't do nothing. You haven't even started yet. Don't save any money. Don't have any money in the bank. You have 2 or 3, 4 bad months. You're out of the business. That's scary. I'm scared to death every single day. Because I told Rick, I said, you know what makes us good at this business? I don't know that we're great at it, so I think we're good at it right now. I think we're going to be great one day. But you know what makes us good? Is that we're 2 of the most scared people I've ever met. He and I are scared to death. And that's something pretty excited to get to watch this so you can be scared to death. But it's a good scare. Do you know what I mean? I'm not scared that I'm not going to make my house payment. I'm not scared that I'm not going to be able to feed my children. I'm not scared that I'm not going to make it. I'm scared that I'm not going to be all I can be, who I set out to be. I'm afraid I'm going to die before I become who I really want to be, and affect the people that I want to affect. That's what I'm afraid of. So what I want you to do this weekend is I want you to think, and I want you to write this down. I don't want you to turn it in, but you got to do it for yourself. And I'll find out if you did this by how if your business goes like this or it goes like this. Okay? Do you have a purpose, and what is it? Write it down. If you don't have one, you haven't thought about it, you better start thinking about it. Because some of you are starting to make more money than you've ever made. It's scary for me. I'm scared for you that I'm starting to make a lot of money. Because some of you that are starting to make a lot of money don't have a purpose. You had a goal to make the money you're making, but you don't have a purpose, and I'm afraid that once you meet the goal, you'll do what most natural human beings do, start going in the other direction. That's what scares me. Because you don't have a purpose. So, another one of my purposes is building a dynasty. And I got this article because this article, I cut it out, we photocopied it for you, because it's kind of the epitome of what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to do, and why I think we're winning. And if you look at this coach from Santa Barbara High, his name is Jack Triguero. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. But I want you to go through this with me. Since 1967, Triguero's teams won 24 consecutive Channel League championships. 24 years, not 24 months. He's been focused and intense for 24 years. He has a purpose. You don't win 24 straight things with just having a goal. There's something way bigger than just winning championships with this guy. Spin a CF court well 6 times, CF semifinals 5 times, CF run up 3 times, and have won 5 CF championships, including 5 of the last 6 years. He's won 5 out of the last 6. So that means that for the first 19 years, or the first 18 years, he didn't win a CIF championship. He just started winning them the last 6 years. See, don't you learn a lesson from that? Rick, you don't learn a lesson from that? Huh? Incredible lesson right there. So you understand that that is a key to making it big? You're really to stay focused that long. All the really good you see, as good as it looks like we're living right now, you understand it is absolutely nothing compared to what's going to happen to our lives in the next 10 or 15 years. You understand that? This is a fraction of what's going to happen to us and to the Corrigations, the McCrummins, and to the Susies, and to the Sanchez's, you know what I'm saying? This is a fraction. See, with the problem with most of us in this room right here, only couple. I think there's one other guy that thinks it's big and understands really what this, and I'm not sure that Rick really understands that well yet, to be honest with you, how big it really is. Because you know what? Because most of you can't see beyond your nose. Our job, my job, Rick's job, the leadership's job is to get people to expand their thinking and their vision of where they could be. Self-sanctioned. You made me put $14,000 last month. Before you got this business, what's the most you ever made in a year? $35,000. You were making less than $3,000 a month. You made about 5 times what you made a month plus last month. Did you ever in your wildest dreams think that would happen that quickly for you? No. So if you're thinking, I mean, now you know you can make 20 or 30, right? Right. So what's happened to your vision? Has it expanded, right? See, some of you that know sell, and you're lucky you saw sell come to speak, right? I bet you a lot of you in the audience probably think you probably think you're better than sell. Some of you do. You ain't better until you do what he's done. I don't care how much you think you are. You can think all day long. Until you've done what Sal's done, you ain't better than nobody. You are what you are. A lot of you think, you might even think you're better than Rick. You're not better than Rick. Until you do what Rick's done, then you might be. But you haven't. See, I don't think I'm better than Mike Sharp. I haven't done what he's done yet. I love a lot of talk about all that stuff. Mike, let me just tell you something about that guy's a stud. He always will be a stud in my eyes. I don't care what he does. He's always been a stud, always will be a stud. I have not done what he's done. I haven't done that yet. And I will never really say a disparaging word about a person like that. I don't care what he does. I have not done what he's done. I haven't done it yet. And I'm a big enough person to admit I haven't done what he's done. He might make a mistake or something like that. My heart believes might make a mistake and make a bad call. But I have not done what he's done. And those of you that rent and tear and other people, shame on you. Your thinking is screwed up. You focus on your own situation. What you got to do for you to make your family make it. Quit looking at everybody else's situation. Look at you. He says, in 27 years of coaching high school tennis, Triguero has produced 2 U.S. Open junior champions, half of the touring pros, and enough state and nationally ranked youth to our youth state yearbook. There are seniors on Triguero's team who have never lost a match. In fact, in 4 years, the team has dropped just 1 match and only lost 2 in the last 5, including the CIF Championship in 1987. Last year's team was so dominant, they won the CIF Championship without losing a set. Not bad for a former basketball. It was right into that. Last year, it was so dumb. That's what my, you understand when I think about this? I don't think about what I want us to be. I want you to be. I want us to be so dominant that everybody shudders when they hear our name across the country. That's what I think about. I want everybody to go, oh, you're part of that group. What did you do? Oh my gosh, you guys are so incredible. I mean, what all they think about is second place all the time. See, that's what I think about. I don't want to just win. I want to win so big, it's ridiculous. So it's like, so everybody else doesn't, you know how the Lakers were for a period of time? Nobody ever really thought that they could win the NBA championship when they were at their best, right? Nobody know it. And if you really got honest, those people, the other teams they made, they didn't really think they could beat them down. They hoped that they could. See, they went and played and they tried. They hoped they could, but they didn't really, in the heart of hearts, believe that they could beat them, which is why hardly anybody did. Well, that's what we're trying to build here. Listen, not bad for a former basketball player who had never touched a racket when he began coaching at Santa Barbara High School in 1964. And when you hear those two, oh yeah, but see, I've never been in sales. You've been in sales. Oh yeah, but you used to be a Army or a Navy or whatever recruiter, right? Or right? He had never touched a racket. See, because winning, he just had to learn what it was. The principles of winning are the same in everything. That's what you have to learn. See, that's what Rick was talking about. That's what he's so good at. He studied winning. See, a lot of you don't study winning. You study techniques and you study systems, but you don't study winning. You don't study what people think about. You don't study what people do. He was hired not as a tennis coach, but as a basketball coach. Look at there were the outstanding athletes, and there was a very good awareness of what character a person had to have to be successful in the game. Although he would coach varsity basketball at Santa Barbara until '78, compiled a 240-90 record in that, which is unbelievable. The one thing that Tigero did understand, however, was discipline. See, the number one reason most of you don't have achieved what you want to achieve is your discipline is sorely lacking. Your discipline shows up in your numbers. The discipline shows up in what you produce. Whenever I see somebody not really doing well, I absolutely immediately know they have a discipline problem. Because disciplined effort makes great things happen. Undisciplined effort is it's sporadic. That's why you'll see people that don't look as talented as you, they'll beat you to death if they have more discipline than you do. It don't matter how talented you are. Shane learned that. Listen, if Shane, I'll tell you right now, as good as he's doing right now, if he doesn't stay disciplined, he don't have a hell of a handbasket of beating anybody in this hierarchy if he doesn't do that. And you don't think I'm going to keep making him aware of that? So you ain't going to have it. Shane, you won't do it. If you don't stay disciplined. Listen to this. Tigero began reading Tim Galloway, an early pioneer of the mental approach to the game, and in later years writing as a sports psychologist, Jim Moore. Long before it was voted for tennis coach at any level to talk about the workings of mind, Tigero was beginning to see the connection between a player's psychological preparation and a won-loss record. See, some of you, I can look out right now, I think some of you are maybe even a little bit bored about hearing about this. Because you want me to tell you some kind of a secret or something. And you don't even know that I am. Long before was full of this. Let me tell you, Galloway understood the mind and the soul and what demands an ego makes. And you have to quiet that part of you or you won't allow the other part to function very well. See, a lot of you are ego-driven. And if you don't learn how to quiet the ego, see, a lot of you, there's been times when some of you really thought that you were a lot better than me at this thing, or a lot better than Rick. There's times when you were really winning, your ego got in the way of you. And that thing's hurt you. You got to get that ego part of you, and take everything as a learning experience and put your ego on the shelf for a while. And quit needing to be stroked all the time in order for you to do anything. So you know what you got? You got to get broken and submit a little bit before you have a chance to. That's why what they do in the military is they take you in and they desensitize you. Right? Anybody in the military here? What do they do there? They break you down and then they build you up, right? They get rid of all the crap that you, because they're trying to save your life, right? That's what they're trying to do. So when you get into battle, you don't die. They don't care how you feel about it, right? They just do what they need to do. Well, some of the stuff we're going to talk about this weekend, a lot of it you might not like to hear. I'm not that concerned whether you like to hear it or not. I'm only concerned that you're here next year and the next year and the next year and the next year. And if you don't get this stuff through, then you ain't going to be here. And if you're not here, that limits what we're able to do, right? Let me tell you, y'all understood the one. Before each season, his players are given a packet of materials which include several articles on mental toughness as well as questions and worksheets assessment on psychological course. Before the first goals are ever made, Yale's players spend 15 hours in this classroom learning about themselves. See, now one thing is that most of you, when you got in this business, you really didn't even know yourself that well. Do you know that? Isn't that true? You were just going through motions. You had a job, they told you what to do, what time to get there, but you didn't know you. And what's the scary part of our business is this business makes you confront you. And that's a scary thing for a lot of people. It's also an exciting thing. And it's also, it can be very exhilarating. Our initial reaction, this is ridiculous, we'll kill everybody anyway, right? Just like a lot of times people, what I need to go to a retreat for? We're doing great, we don't need to do any of this kind of stuff here. We got it going. But the coach always tells us that we need to be even tougher, says Senior Craig 5 p.m. We get awfully cocky sometimes, the mental toughness stuff really does help. But don't believe for a second that you're going to actually anything in the lecture about a quote Plato than Adam. On the contrary, he's a no-nonsense holds bar leader who rolls friends like a West Coast Bucky Knight. I'm not Minnie Mouse with the kids, I'm pretty tough. See, a lot of the reasons that you don't get as much as you can get out of people is you are Minnie Mouse. A lot of you are afraid to tell like it is because you're afraid that they're going to quit or they're not going to like you or something like that. But the sad thing is, if you don't tell them like it is, they're never going to do all they can do to become, and grow the business and win. And if they don't grow, then you don't grow, then everybody loses. No one wins from that because you're really not. I didn't say mean. Like Rick said, I didn't say be mean to them. I said I need to be honest with them and tell them like it is. As a result, he says, a group of players are consistently disciplined and focused. The pressure come in knowing they won't screw around, and if they do, they'll hear about it in the first 5 minutes. There's no place for silliness, joke making, or even talking during girls' practice. They're all diversions. And I don't like it when we're practicing, says the girl who has no patience for negativity. Because see, a lot of people still are negative. Whenever you should aspire to something, you should aspire to be the most positive human being that you know. That is one of the, I think, if you can aspire to, that's just something you should work on like nothing else. And try to find what's right with everything. I made a decision a long time ago that I was going to be the most positive person that I've ever met in my life. Now, I made a decision many, many years ago, probably 10 or 12 years. I made a decision I would be the most positive person that I've ever met. And I'm so positive to extent for people, they didn't joke about it, right, Chris? Right? People joke about how positive I am. So I didn't just say, well, shoot, if Hector got shot in the head, he'd find something positive with that, right? I would. So I figured out a way to do it. Right? One time we were in an area, remember when we first started team retreat? Yeah. There's an elevator hotel, an Amfax hotel. And, some hotels have slow elevators, right? Have you ever been in a hotel like that? And some have really fast ones. And I said, man, this hotel is the fastest elevators. It's incredible. And they started laughing at me and said, which is ridiculous, right? But you know what? I'd rather be that way than the other way. I'd rather you make fun of me about that than repel you with my negativity. But you know what I'm in the business of? Attracting people. I don't know what business you guys are in, but I'm in the attractive business. See, I'm an attract. You know what? I talking to Sal yesterday, and he said, "You know what? Henry, one thing I remember when I first met you. You know what? Why I think I got going and why I left." He says, "You know what? You made me feel special the first time we met. You made me feel good about myself." I didn't even remember that, Sal. But you know why I did that? Because that's what I always try to do. Every single time I spend any time with anybody, my goal is to make you feel better about yourself than when you came, first spend any time with me. That is really a goal of mine. Every time I spend any time with anybody, my goal is when this person leaves and goes does what they do, that they feel better about themselves than when they spent than before they came. That is absolutely a goal of mine. And I practice that. Am I perfect at that? No way. But I really make a conscious effort in that area. And a lot of you have felt that, right? Some of you felt that. But that's not an accident. That's not something that's a natural thing. It's something that I worked at. If someone starts shaking their head during practice, they do 5 push-ups, self-discipline, security equals self-confidence. My strength is always going to get kids mentally tough and take the fear out of the game and get them comfortable enough to hit the ball in any situation. I feel a little confident about my ability to get kids to go through a certain amount of ego reduction considering how other people perceive them. I get them to go out. See, you have to get, that's what you've got to get. See, we have a problem here. It's that we're a young society. And the average age in this group right here is about between 28 and 40. Okay? And we've been fortunate to grow up in a few places that have beautiful things, and we've been unfortunate in the fact that we've also grown up in a society where appearance and the way you look and the way you come across, all that is way too important. It's more important to most people than what you really are. That's a problem. So what happens is that everybody's caught up on how they're perceived rather than what they really are. See, I tell Jill, I says, you know what? She goes, Arthur, I said, you know what? It doesn't bother me how I perceive. I know who I am. I know what I'm trying to do. How you perceive me is not because, you just do that because that's your perception, but I am who I am. I know who I am. I know that I don't try to screw people. I know that I live a decent life. I know that I'm trying to do the right thing. And if you misinterpret that, that is not my problem. You understand that? And I am not going to spend any time worrying about it. You gotta do the same thing. You can't be spending your whole day worrying about that, about the perception. As long as you do that, you've got a lot of problems. You're always going to be just doing things for other people rather than for your purpose or what you're trying to accomplish. Yes, exactly. Yes, he's got talent literally. He's helping these kids get as much out of they probably can. 27 years of hardship, I'm paralyzed since the high school level to girls' knowledge that he has developed something of a dynasty. There's a winning tradition, something of a dynasty, right? There's a winning tradition at South Briar, no doubt about it. A lot of the kids look forward to coming here even when they're young. Everybody in town guns for this team. 2 things there. Everybody looks forward to coming there even when they're kids. Just like everybody wants to be a part of this hierarchy around. You understand? A lot of them get phone calls from other people and other hierarchies wanting to come and join your team, right? You know why? Because that's the way it is when you win. And everybody in town runs for this team. And what's going to also happen is because you win, you're always going to be, your behind is always exposed. When you're top of the flagpole, right? It's always exposed, right? So you need to get used to that. People talking about you and all kinds of that will absolutely happen at some point. Your family, your friends, people in the business. Sometimes, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say this, but there's going to be people probably in this room that will be jealous of the accomplishments you've made, and they'll be trying to dog you, right? Unfortunately for them, because it only makes them smaller. It exposes your true character when you do that. Jack's the one to sacrifice integrity for a win, says Newman. No matter how much they might dominate, you didn't have to show class. That's really important, because some of you are going to be going. Some of you tonight are going to win. and some of you are going to win. See, one thing is, every time I've ever won anything, I've never, ever rubbed it in anybody's face. Because I know that I am this close from losing the next time if I don't stay focused. I never, ever have done that to anybody. I have rigged it. I never have, never will. Because you know what? You don't win when you do that. You always lose when you do that. All right? But it comes back to not knowing that you haven't really made it and you understand where you're at. It's really important. All right. I mean, I'm just trying to teach you something there that long term is going to help you in your business. You got to be real careful about that. You got to be real careful about when you're winning, because I've seen too many people that thought that they were top of the world, thought that it would never end, right? And they said the wrong things, and you just don't want to do that. All right. You just don't have to have others. I'm going to wrap it up here real quick. I just want to go over this real quick and set it up for tomorrow. Key performance principles for high achievers. You know what you all are in here right now? You're either an achiever or a higher achiever, or an achiever working to be a high achiever, or you would be here. Okay? And there's three kinds of people. There's not achievers, just passive people who stand around waiting for things to happen, and we all know who those people are, right? You've seen them. You have quite a few. You have some in your base shop, right? Most of you have some in your higher base. Then you have achievers, those who want to make things happen, and then you have higher achievers. Those people will not settle for one thing less than full potential as human beings. That's what we're trying to develop here. That's what we're trying to develop. It's people like that. You know, there's a problem that we have that we need to work on. All right. One is that this is a model of mediocrity we have done is foster plant in the country. There's welfare. It's one of the most insidious things that's ever happened in this country. You know that. Some of you probably even know people. Maybe you were on that. I don't know. It's probably one of the most demeaning things. Always legitimate reasons. When there's reasons sometimes people should have it. I absolutely totally believe that. But most of the time, that's not true. Okay, it's a real problem. And the people that receive it don't even know that it's bad for them. Sometimes. But it's a bad problem. People lock in jobs, right? People lock into people don't know that they've been locked in their jobs. That's the problem. The other thing, dropouts, TV recluses, right? Anybody know any TV recluses? People jumping from thing to thing. People can't stay focused. You're well, I got this going, and next week I got this again, and this week I got this, and then right? And worse, just accepting things as they come, which is what most people do. There's 10 questions. I don't even know about these justice, but the thing, I was just going with Rick said, do you really want to build a base up? Do you really want to be a high achiever? I mean, do you really want to? I mean, you really need to answer that question. Hopefully, I'll answer that question this weekend. Do you have a strong inner urge to experience new things? Because you know what? Well, the first time I remember I was talking about this one. The first time I wanted to be a high achiever for a long time, but you know what I had to do? First, I didn't like speaking in front of groups. The very first time I spoke in front of a group, a lot of people heard this, but Warren's repeating. I was so bad that Jan was so embarrassed that she would not come to another meeting where I was going to speak for a whole year. That is not a lie. That was how bad I was the first time I got up in front of a group of people. It was 65 people at a fast start school. But you know what? I wanted to be a high achiever. That was a new experience for me, right? And I knew I had to keep experiencing it. A lot of times you have to do a lot of things you've never done before. If you don't like doing that, you cannot ever be a high achiever. Like there's going to be a day when you're going to have to put on a retreat like this. Your first one that you've never done before with your RVPs. Bunch of men and women who have been successful. A lot of you have been successful in your own right and other things. And I know people trying to tell you how to be successful. And you understand that creates a lot of nervousness. You understand that? But the first time I did, which was last year, was the first one I did. I was scared to death. It was a new experience for me. But I did it. What matters most to you? What that's the purpose thing. What matters most to you? What do you really matters to you most? You need to answer that. How much are you willing to endure? How much are you willing to endure? What is it the thing that's gonna drive you out? What is it? How much can you take? Is it a chargeback? Is it one of your best guy quitting after you thought you could be forever? Is it losing a contest? Is it what is it? How much can you endure? That's it, right? Right? Yeah. That wipes you out, right? You're done. We're gonna quit now, right? You got lost in the baby good contest. But you know what? That is going to be the difference because high achievers, their capacity to endure is unbelievable. That's what they have over most people. They just have a capacity to keep on moving, and enduring incredible things that normal people get too discouraged and they quit. The other thing is, what are you willing to invest? How much are you willing to invest? What are you willing to invest? In yourself, in preparation, and all those things. What are you willing to invest? What are you willing to give up? What do you do? There's some things that some of you are doing right now that you still haven't given up, that are still keeping you from being all you can be, and you still will not give them up. The leisure time activities, I don't know what it is, TV, things, something. If you're not winning, then there's something that's preventing you that you haven't given up yet. What are you going to give up? You can be an achiever and do well, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about doing something unbelievable. Okay? How much responsibility are you willing to assume? Are you always going to be the one? Oh well, they'll take care of it. Oh well. Are you always going to be riding on Gary's coattails? Did he have him do the meeting or Rick's? Or are you going to always do that? Or is there going to be a day when you do your own meetings, when you have your own training meetings, when you hire your own people? Or you're beyond that, but you know what I mean? When are you going to do that? What are you going to? How much responsibility are you willing to assume? Are you willing to start where you are? See, that's a key thing. Are you willing to start where you are? See, most of you, if I ask you, you're not anywhere close to where you want to be, right? Most of you are probably, most of you are excited, but a lot of them are where you want to be, right? But are you willing to start right now? You are where you are. I mean, regardless of whatever you want to think and whatever, rationalizations that you want to make and all these kind of things, because that's what we do, right? You are where you are. Are you willing to start from there? Especially the reason I wanted Shane to read that thing about crossland, that doesn't get you excited about that thing. When you read about crossland, I don't know anything else that gets you excited. That is unbelievable. You need to get it. He's gonna give me that, and we're gonna make copies of that. All right, so you can get it out. Are you willing to think for yourself? Are you willing to think for yourself? See, if you're the kind of person that's always swayed by other people, always going with the wind, whatever the trend is right now, you have to follow that trend. If it's, you know what I mean? If you're always needing the approval of other people all the time, and you can't think for yourself, you can't be a high achiever. You need to sometimes think. You got to think for yourself. Are you willing to settle for nothing less than your full potential? I don't even know what anybody's full potential is. I mean, who knows what that is, right? Who knows what your full potential is? All I know is we haven't even scratched the surface on that area. And that's really what this thing's all about. That is really ultimately what this thing's all about. Are you going to be all you can be? And that sounds cliche. That sounds like a bunch of, but you know what? You know when you're by yourself. Like tonight when you go to your rooms tonight, right? And you're in there with you and your spouse, right? Or when you by yourself, and then you go to the John or something right there, you're thinking, you're all by yourself, and you know what you really have done up to this point. You know how much energy, you know how much work you've really done, you know how committed you've really been, you know what your attitude's really been like. Only you do, but you know you're going to be all by yourself, right? And you're going to, ultimately, you have to live with you. See, I wanted to get this thing going for my family. There's no doubt about that. And I think I've done a good job in that area. I wanted to get it going for a lot of you people to try to help you make it. I wanted to get it going so I could help my mom and dad and Jan's mom and dad and a lot of those things. But you know what? Honestly, I really did it for me. Because I knew that if I couldn't be all I could be, I could never be great to her. See, if I didn't give it everything I had and really became the person I liked, that I felt good about, that when I looked in the mirror in the morning, I felt like, okay, I didn't feel like I was always having to beat myself up, right? I knew if I didn't give it everything I got, I could never be great to Jan. It's my kids. I knew that. And really, I mean, that's not, hopefully you're not taking that wrong. That is not a selfish thing. That was, I understand that concept. If you don't feel great about you, you can't be good for anybody else. You can't be. It's impossible for you to be good for anybody else if you don't feel good about you. And you can't feel good about you unless you do all you can do to be as good as you can be. It's not possible. So if you're not working for that, there's always that little bit of something wrong there, right? So really, if anything, that's what this is. Does that mean you have to be the number one person? No, I don't mean that. I don't mean you have to be the number one person. I'm not the number one person in this company. We signed us $6 million last month in printing. I'm not even close to being the number one guy. But I'm trying to be all I could be where I'm at right now, at this stage of the game. That's all you can ever ask from you, George. Are you being all you can be at this stage right now? Or not? See, I don't look at everybody saying, well, he's a winner, he's a loser, he's a winner. Anytime you did this much training this one, therefore you're in a category. That's not how I look at people. I don't that's not it. I'm not going to say, is this person getting everything they can get out of them? Right now, this their level of development, their level of thinking. Are they doing all they can do with what they have at this point? And when I look and I see that they're not, I'm going to feel bad. When I see that you are, I get excited, And that's really all this business is about, is trying to get people to that point. That is your job, okay? That is your job. Gary, that's your job. Ted, that's your job, to get people to do that. And the more people you get to do that, obviously it's pretty much self-explanatory.